Online shopping made safe and secure. Today on Call for Help.
I hope these people can help me with my computer. Oh. No! A technician will be with you in 4 hours. 4 hours?
You can upgrade for just $5,000.
What?
The Universal Serial Config board should be set to ID 6.
I need that in plain English. Help!
Leo Laporte at Call for Help. May I help you?
How are you? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here right now, right here. This is the place to be on our shoe, really big shoe. Today we're going to talk about technology and how to turn it around so that instead of you being at the mercy of it, going, oh, this technology, it's killing me. You're in charge. You're strong. I own you, technology. That's what this show's all about. Whether it's computers, the internet, MP3 players, camcorders, digital cameras, cell phones, home theater, whatever it is, that's what we do right here. And I do it with my friends every single night. Maybe that's not the right way to put it. Amber MacArthur and Andy Walker, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Leo, how are you doing?
Just before the show starts, Amber goes, I look like a watermelon.
Yeah, I couldn't realize that.
You look great, as always. If you look like a watermelon, Andy must look like a blueberry.
What on earth did you eat for lunch?
I know, I wish I had
What do you
some.
mean?
You're like,
I love this job. I love being here.
it's Leo
You know what
Laporte
it
on
is?
11.
It's my flame shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see them. If I have to,
They make you fast.
I have to.
Fast, Leo.
That's it.
Don't fall off your chair.
I have flame shoes on, ladies and gentlemen.
A hot foot.
That's a hot foot. Whoa, watch out, stand back.
Nice.
Hey, you know what we're going to do today? Marcel Gagnier is here, and he's going to talk about Outlook alternatives for Linux. He's our Linux guru. And so, yeah, if you're tied to Microsoft Outlook, you know, take a look at some of these programs. You may say, boy, what am I missing? There's some great stuff out there for Linux. And Andy's going to talk about something that we did. I got a question about on a show some time ago.
We had a couple of questions. There's a little box that's a hardware firewall called Alpha Shield. And that's the way they market it is, Alpha Shield, here I am to save the day. Alpha Shield is on the way. So I decided to see if it's any good.
It's supposed to be a firewall.
It's supposed to be a firewall. It's supposed to be fantastic. And
So it's a little more
I'm not going
pricey.
to tell you whether it is or not.
All right, good. Alpha Shield, the review, the definitive review.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
I'm
Miss
actually,
Watermelon?
Yeah, I know. Nothing about watermelons. But I'm actually going to tell people how to stay safe when they shop online. So I'm going to give them some tips to stay safe and also show one of my new favorite shopping sites called Zazzle.
Oh, Zazzle.
Zazzle.
Will that
yes.
include leaving your credit card in the freezer?
Yeah, you know what? I probably should do that as well.
That makes it safe?
Well, it means that you just can't get at it.
It makes it cold.
It's like frozen in the peas, you know.
You
so
can still read it, though. That's the
We
thing.
go through cycles. You know, originally when internet shopping started, people said, oh, I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
give my credit card. And then I think everybody calmed down and realized it's safe. But now because of spyware and viruses, hacking, all of a sudden people are worried again.
They're worried again. So, you know, we're just going to give them some tips. You know, obviously nothing's 100% secure and they can't always be safe, but we can at least give them some guidelines.
I think it's as safe as giving your card to some stranger in a store and he wanders
Exactly.
off with
Or
it for an hour.
the pizza guy who you call on the phone. Yeah, definitely.
What about this thing, farming? This new term called farming?
Where you grow corn, wheat, and then feed the world? That? No?
No, it's where like they put rogue DNS routers on the internet, and then when you type mybank.com, and
Yeah.
this rogue DNS goes, oh yeah, let's send you to Russia, and we're going to, and it looks like your bank.com.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's like the second, it's after fishing, right?
After
First there's
fishing.
fishing, then
farming,
there's
is it
farming.
P-H-A-R?
Yeah.
PH.
Farming.
Yeah, PH.
You know, and of course they do that with wireless access points. It's there's software out there to spoof any hotspot. So you set it up, and it looks like, you know, Starbucks or whatever, and people see it, and they log into it, and they say, oh, good. They give you credit card numbers, passwords, everything. And there you go.
Must be fun to be a crook these days.
It's more interesting and probably more profitable because you don't, I tell you the truth, while there are prosecutions, you can count them on the fingers of one hand. They are not throwing these guys in jail by the dozens, and I think that that's not a good sign. No. Well, we'll talk about this more in a little bit. But let's get our first call of the day here. I don't want to depress people.
I know. All right, we have Rick from Brantford, Ontario on the line.
Thank you, Ms. Watermelon. Hello, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Great.
Welcome to the show today, my friend.
Thanks.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, I got a bit of a problem. I've encrypted some photos,
Okay.
and then I changed, like I reinstalled Windows. So now I've lost the key.
Oh, you backed up. So you have the photos, but you can't unencrypt them? Is that the problem?
Right.
Okay. XP?
XP, yeah, professional.
Okay. So here's what, just to show people what's going on. I have a folder here that I've encrypted. And if I right-click it and select Properties, and then click the Advanced Properties, you see I can write down here, Encrypt Contents to Secure Data. And the way XP does this is it's pretty transparent. And I think this is probably part of the problem, Rick, is you probably even forgot that you'd encrypted them. Because look what happens. Now this is encrypted. I'm going to say, okay, it's encrypted. The only difference is it's got green text instead of black. If I'm in my account, it opens up right away. It looks normal. But watch, I'm going to switch to another account, a different user. I'll switch to from the administrator account to Leo, who's also administrator, by the way. This has nothing to do with whether you're an administrator, or file permissions or anything like that. And now I'm going to go to the same folder, My Computer D. Now this is the interesting thing about the encryption. The folder still shows up. See, there it is, Help Shows. It's still there. It's still green. I double click it. I still see a file there. But can I open it? No. Can I copy it? No. It's encrypted. It says, in fact, it doesn't even tell you it's encrypted. It just says access is denied. So that's what you're getting right now on those files, right?
Right.
The problem is that the backup you made, how did you make the backup?
Well, what I did is I just left it on the hard drive.
Oh.
But I put Windows on another partition.
Oh, okay. I think you're probably all right. Here's the deal. The way this works is with a certificate. Microsoft loves these certificates. And the certificate contains the key for the encryption. Okay. So do you have an account, same login, same password account?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all you have to do is get access to the certificate. So let me show you how to do that. See, here we are back in my account, and I can see the call for help file once again. So let me show you, at least we can see if we can recover that certificate. What you need to do is open the Microsoft Management Console. So you click Start Run MMC. This is a very useful tool that is extremely obscure to use. So here we have the console root with no snap-ins. I want to actually add a snap-in. So I'm going to go to Add Remove Snap-in. I'm going to click the Add button, and I'm going to add the certificate snap-in. So what I've really done here is created a tool that looks at certificates. And I'm going to say this will be from my user account, and click Finish. And there we go. So now I have a tool that looks at certificates. Now you'll see that there are a lot of certificates on the system. This is the system. I mean, these are all certificates for websites and so forth. You want to look at the personal certificates, and you should have one for each login. Actually, we're in my user account, so I only see one. If you go to the computer, if you get all the computer certificates, you'll see all of their logins. So now, what you want to do is find the certificate. You're going to look for the certificate that, let me think now. Now, actually, here's the question, and I think you actually may be out of luck, Rick. Is the certificate stored in the data folder, or is it stored in the actual Windows folder? I'm thinking it might be not. You might not have access to it. If you do, you'll be able to go to Export Certificate, and you'll be able to save that certificate and move it over. This is how you would make a backup of an encrypted folder to preserve it anyway. So yes, export the private key. We're going to uncheck strong protection, uncheck delete the private key, but we are going to include all certificates in the path. It'll ask for a password. This is not the old password. This is a new password. You can give it anything. That's to protect it, because what's going to happen here is I'm going to now make a certificate. We'll put this on the desktop. That can be used. Okay, we've exported it. That can now be used. Let's save this because we're going to use this console again. We'll call this console the certificate. See, now you actually have created a MMC console just for certificates. That's this. And now we also have a file, key.pfx. That's, and if I double click it, I'll be able to import it. That's the certificate that went with those encrypted files. This is the certificate that goes with that call for help folder. This is what you need. Now, the question is, and I'm trying to think, I hate to say this to you, Rick. I think when you formatted and reinstalled Windows, you might have lost a certificate for that folder. I can't remember if it keeps it in the folder or keeps it in the Windows directory.
Okay.
So what you got to do is see if you can use this certificate management console to find a certificate in that folder. Hope it's there. If it is, yeah, but I think it's not. Otherwise, you should be able to access it. Let me look around and see. But that's the notion of how you manage these keys. From now on, when you have an encrypted folder, you need to take that key with you when you make a backup, because that's what's going to let you get into it again. And the problem with not having that is this is strong encryption, and I don't know of any way to crack it unless you had a password that was. No, it's not the password. You need the certificate. I think you're probably out of luck. I hate to tell you, unless you can recover that key. So at least play with that and see what you can do, okay?
So would it be better to do it in the administrator account?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter as long as you can access that folder or access anywhere on the hard drive. You want to try to find the key for that. I'm going to have to do some research and see where those keys are stored. I'm afraid they might be stored in the Windows directory, in which case you're kind of out of luck. All right, Rick?
Okay, thanks.
That's what happens. And for everybody who's watching, when you use encryption, gosh, those files are encrypted. You cannot unencrypt them unless you have that key. So if you back up, if you erase, if you do anything, make sure you get the key first. In fact, this is probably a good idea. If you've got an encrypted folder, take this key, put it on a floppy, put it somewhere safe. You have to have that, or you're not going to be able to see those files again. After the break, we get the lowdown on Linux alternatives to Outlook. Marcel Gagne is here. Your email secrets will be safe with us. When Call for Help continues, stay right here.
11,
Most
11,
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder?
I
Well,
bet the
it's
certificate's
one-
not stored. This underscores, our last caller underscores really my contention that Windows is really a business operating system. And how many people knew that when you use the encryption in the Windows file system, if you're going to reformat or reinstall, you can't just back up your data, your encrypted data. You have to back up certificates first. After doing a little research, I think that our caller is actually out of luck. Those certificates, I think, are pretty much lost if you format and reinstall. Now, if he didn't format on top of Windows, if he has that original copy of Windows, he might be able to get the certificates back. But if Windows is gone, I think the certificate's gone too.
Yeah, he did say that he installed on a different partition.
Yeah, so maybe.
So he might be safe.
Marcel Gagne is our Linux guru. He's here, and he wants to tell us a little bit about changing from Windows. That's what your big thing is, going from Windows to Linux.
Well, of course, I want everybody to just abandon this crazy nonsense of running Windows. I mean, we're doing.
I imagine it's no different in Linux that if you encrypted stuff.
No, it's not any different. Actually, the whole idea behind encryption is actually a good thing. Remembering to keep that key somewhere.
You got to keep it somewhere.
Is also a really good idea.
Yeah.
In fact, it works the same way. There's actually, I mean, I have emails and files and so forth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have public and private key certificates and so forth that you store on your PC. They're all stored in a single folder.
Right.
And you back up that sucker to either a USB key or a diskette or something.
You have ready access to those certificates.
I
They're
do.
files in an obvious spot.
Yes.
In Windows, they don't really make it obvious. You have to go through the rigmarole.
And in fact, if I back up my home directory, or my home folder, if you will, if I back that up, I have my keys.
You have your
I'm safe.
And that's not true in Windows.
No, it's not true in Windows.
So that is a little difference. Anyway, when people move from Windows to Linux, very often what they say is the hardest is they miss their home applications, their favorite applications. And no application is more used on Windows than Outlook.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. And am I allowed to say this? Next to Internet Explorer, it's probably the biggest security problem in the world.
Sure, say it.
It's next to Internet Explorer, it's the biggest security problem in the world. But seriously, I mean, Outlook has some great features, and people miss those things.
Right.
So even in Windows right now, we've gotten people used to the idea of using Firefox. Cool, they can go to Linux, they
Excellent
use Firefox,
browser.
looks the same. If they decide to use Game in Windows for instant messaging and so forth, they've got a multi-protocol instant messaging client. They move from Windows to Linux, it looks exactly the same. OpenOffice, it exists in Windows. You move to Linux, you've got it.
Right.
The only thing missing, of course, is that you've got this wonderfully secure operating system versus what you have to live with in the Windows world on a day-to-day basis. I'll come clean at this moment here. Nothing is perfect, okay? I mean, you have to watch yourself, and you should be running firewalls, and you should be taking care of your passwords and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, Linux is a much more secure environment than Windows is. But Outlook is actually one of those things that people have gotten really used to. Why? Because you've got that integrated contact manager, you've got your calendar, so, and all these functions wrapped in one application that people really like. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show them that, yes, there is something over in the Linux world that is actually friendly. You're not stuck.
Okay.
You can keep working. So the first thing I'm
Now,
going to
if
show...
they're using Thunderbird, they don't have to worry, because then they just use Thunderbird on Linux.
True, but this implies that they were willing to leave Outlook behind to go working on Thunderbird in the first place, which, I mean, you've worked with a lot of businesses and offices, and you know that that's a rough thing to do.
You bet. Outlook is kind of... Well, here, you have to use Outlook if you want to get the webmail.
Yeah. So... The very first thing I'm going to show you is something called Evolution. Now, Evolution is a package now owned by Novell. Novell bought Zuse and so forth.
Yeah.
So this is actually Novell Evolution now. But if you take a look at the desktop here, you'll find that Evolution looks an amazing amount. Whoops, I just moved to a different desktop here. But it looks an amazing amount like Outlook.
If we didn't tell people, I think they'd think you were
If you didn't
looking
tell
at
that was Outlook, they'd say, you're looking at Outlook. You've got things, in fact, it looks like Outlook 2003. You've got your contact manager here, which at the moment I don't have any contacts in. But if I click New, now I made the font really big so everybody would see it nicely on television here. But everything looks very similar to what you'd expect. If I click on the calendar function and so forth.
That looks just like Outlook.
Doesn't that look just like Outlook?
Yeah.
And the beauty about this, and of course our tasks, our to-do lists and so forth, so it's very, very much what they're used to working with. The really nice thing about Evolution is Evolution also has a plugin that allows you to use Exchange servers.
That's what I was going to ask you, because if you're in a corporate environment, that's the real reason you need to use Outlook is to communicate to the central mail server, which is running Microsoft Exchange.
Exactly, and you can do that work here. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, in fact, Evolution, it's I can't remember the plugin. I'm drawing a complete blank.
But
but it used to be a separate product that used to be sold.
We'll put a link in.
Okay, it used to be a separate product. Now it's available. It's actually built in as part of it. It's a freebie, right along with Evolution and so forth. And it's connector. Thank you. The connector is what it's. So it's actually called Connector.
I don't know why you're thanking me. I didn't help you at all.
I looked at you. I could see it on your forehead. It was right up there.
Yes.
He's actually an Android, you know.
Connector.
Anyway, the other package that I want to show you is now Evolution is kind of the package that you use in with the GNOME desktop. Although you can use it in KDE, and you'll notice, I mean, people who've seen me do this on the show have seen that I generally run KDE up here.
As most people do now, I think.
Definitely the majority. There's no question. Now, in the KDE desktop environment, there's something called Contact. K-O-N-T-A-C-T. And that's actually part of the package. So it's part of KDE 3.3, 3.4. And again, if you take a look, you'll notice that it looks very similar in a lot of ways to Outlook, but it looks actually a little bit flashier and a little bit shinier in a lot of places.
I like how it looks, yeah.
Yeah, again, the whole email section and so forth, but there's also this wonderful summary screen up at the top that you can have at your login at the beginning, which keeps track of your to-do lists and what your appointments are and whether there are birthdays coming up and so forth. There's a contact manager. Again, I just stuck in my son's name here. You know. Sebastian, yeah, Sebastien, or Sebastian. Again, I mean, very easy, very nice to work with. Now,
how about Exchange? Was it?
Yeah, see, I was going to anticipate the question.
You knew I was going to ask that.
I knew you were going to ask that. By default, this actually comes with a. See, we do have birthdays to worry about here. By default, this actually comes with a number of plugins to deal with a lot of different systems. In the KDE 3.3 version, Exchange 2000 was supported. Okay. But it's not supported in a new version, KDE 3.4, which I have at the moment. However, you can get plug-in connectors that allow you to talk to an Exchange server.
That's great. That's
so that you can continue to work with it. However, this actually supports about 4 different servers, including Novell GroupWise.
I can use my Lotus Notes with it.
Bingo, eGroupware.
I'd love to get rid of Lotus Notes. That's wonderful.
You should be talking to my wife. I mean, she has Lotus Notes for her MBA program.
It can be very frustrating.
Hates Lotus Notes. Oh, and the other cool thing about Contact, I just have to point this out. Remember we talked about the idea of being a news junkie on a previous show here? Okay, check this out.
You have an aggregator
There's an aggregator built into it. It's one of the functions. You've got synchronization for your Palm, you've got little yellow sticky notes, and you've got an aggregator.
Right.
If you
of the two, Evolution, Contact, which do you like?
I love Contact.
I have to say, now I was thrilled when Simeon's developed Evolution. I thought, great, you get off Outlook, but this looks even better.
Oh, it looks even better, but the fact is, if you drop in Evolution to somebody who's used to working with Outlook,
they'll be very comfortable immediately.
They don't notice any difference. They're working with exactly the same thing.
But this is even slicker.
And the really cool thing is I get email messages if they've got viruses and so forth. Do you remember the I Love You virus?
Don't have to worry about it.
I clicked on it. I opened it. I read it. It has no effect on my system. I can get viruses, worms. It doesn't matter.
And you laugh.
I laugh
like a
madman.
Marcel is laughing at the success of his latest book, moving to the Linux business desktop. I highly recommend it if you're going from Windows to Linux.
Love this guy.
And as you can see, he solves the basic fundamental problems that you're going to have. And that's the way to do it. If you want to learn more about his website, go to marcelgagne.com. And of course, our website is callforhelptv.com. That's where we have all of this information and links to the relevant files. In fact, give us a link to that connector download too so that we can put that up.
Oh, just go to www.novell.com/product/evolution, I believe.
what he said. Before we get to more security secrets and fun to come, let's take a tour of our quiz question. When was the solid-state transistor invented? Mikey's really doing a history number here. 1948, 1971, 1969, or 1066 AD? Get to the website and give us a guess. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for a quick tip of the day. Here's how you add a contact in Outlook. Go to File and New, click on Contact, type in the contact's name. I'm going to enter Andy in here, and also enter in the contact's email address, andy@cyberwalker.com. And you can also enter any other information you would like their business number, their home number, their fax number, or their mobile number. And then all you have to do is hit Save and Close. This is really helpful as you start to get more and more contacts in your Outlook account, and you want to manage them and keep them in one place and keep them safe. And now we have another caller. We have Steve on the webcam from Raymond, Alberta.
She looked like she was using Linux there. Looked just like Linux. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Welcome to the show. What can we do for you?
Well, I am confused. Basically, I'm still running Windows 98 system we put together 4 years ago, Pentium 3, and super stable, had zero problems until we got a Trojan over the winter. And removing that, it kind of blocked Zone Alarm, couldn't remove all the bits, so I thought that I'd put in a new hard drive. Now, it only supported a new 40 gig hard drive, but that's master and the old 20, which all my data, my important files, and things I don't want to lose are on the old 20. It's been split into C, D, and E, and I'm just kind of wondering, how do these relate to each other? I've been confused because some things seem to come across with no problem, and other things get all messed up, like my website software and the files that support our website.
Well, because your drive letters have changed, yes?
Yes, they have.
That's the problem. And unfortunately, I wish programs wouldn't do this. They do it less in NT, XP, and 2000 because those systems are no longer dependent on drive letters in the way that 98 was. But 98's dependent on letters, and so programs, what they do is they say, I'm installed on C, my data's on D, and so it is now and so it shall ever be. And then you move it, and the program says, where has my data gone? It doesn't know.
Okay.
So now, how do you change that? Well, you could maybe go into the registry and you can change if you fix it, but it's kind of a pain.
But if I've gone and done a clean install of a Windows 98 SE on the new hard drive, on C drive, I've added most of my software, whether it's my printer, scanner, webcam, etc., I installed from the disk to the system C. Even though I have everything still on D, I'm basically, I guess I'm operating off of the C drive now.
C is your drive.
But how do I get programs like, let's say I've got 4 years of emails, and WinFax is another program that I use.
Well, okay, here's the deal. Your programs won't run off D in most cases. The programs want to live in the programs folder on C.
Sure.
So reinstall all those programs. Now your data is now still on D where it used to be, which used to be C, right?
That's right.
You can move, in most cases, you can move your data to the data folder on C that is the exact same folder, and you'll get it all back. Do you see what I'm saying?
I heard something about renaming the folder, because I think I may still have a couple of Trojans I couldn't remove lurking around on D. I should be in the Windows system, so if I don't bring that across, I shouldn't be risking contaminating.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're worried because that drive has. Yeah, be careful about what you move over. You're absolutely right. You could move the virus over, so you're absolutely right. Be very careful. But let's say. Email would be a good example, where the email would have a virus in an attachment. Don't open those attachments, but you might want to recover the email. So you will be, in effect, moving a virus over, but it won't be active yet. If there is an active virus, it's probably not in a data folder. It's probably in a Windows folder or a system folder.
They're in temp. They're in my Windows. Windows temp.
So you're probably
Trojans,
okay.
Actually,
don't copy your temp folder. But you could copy your eFax data. You could copy over your Outlook email. email you could copy over. All of those things you could copy over.
Is that what I'm looking at as a DBX extension?
Yeah, or you're using Outlook Express.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very simple. In Outlook Express, all of the mail is stored. It's kind of an obscure location, but it's stored in the Identities folder. And it's got a long number, and then it's got an Outlook Express folder, and in there is all your mail, all DBX files.
Both in and out, right?
Yep,
Like
yep,
it is
yep.
listed as
all
in
the
and
folders. So all you have to do is move that folder to the same location on the C drive, and open Outlook Express. Now you'll erase anything that's on the C drive by doing so.
Okay.
So if you've received mail,
afterwards I will erase everything on the C drive. Excuse me, lost me there.
if you have a received email now on Outlook Express on your new C drive,
right.
You take the email from the old D drive and move it to that folder. It will be replacing any email you've received since you created that C drives. Do you understand that?
Oh, it will.
Yeah,
okay.
be careful.
So I have to take anything I want and save it to my documents or something.
Well, another way to do this, and I'll show you real quickly because we're almost out of time,
okay.
At least for Outlook Express. Each program is going to have some unique solution like this. In Outlook Express, you can change the location of the message store.
Right.
So you go to Tools, Options, Maintenance, and press the Store Folder button. That's where the messages are stored. So you can temporarily, currently they're stored on the C drive here, but you could change it to another location. Let's change it temporarily to the D drive. If you've got mail here in the Outlook Express folder, say OK. It's going to say there appears to be an Outlook Express message store already in the folder you've chosen. Do you want to switch to using that store? If not, it'll be deleted. So yes, I want to switch. I don't want to delete my current messages. So you say yes. And it says, OK, now that's not going to happen until you shut down and restart. So I'll say, OK. I shut down Outlook Express and restart it. And at that point, I will now be looking at the mail that's on the D drive.
Okay. Well,
does that make sense?
That really helps. That issue. Do you have time to tell me anything about WinRAR, the compression utility WinRAR?
What about it?
Well, it seems that as I didn't do it, I didn't do the install of the drive. And all of my old, I guess, folders and files on D drive are stored in WinRAR.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just another zip format, like zip. All you have to do, there's a great program free called iZarc, I-Z-A-R-C, that'll open those files, extract the data you want from them.
Because I'm timing out in a few days after they tell me I have to buy the program.
No. Use iZarc.
So the one you mentioned will still open these folders.
Absolutely, for free forever. iZarc. It's a wonderful program. In fact, it does zip files, does RAR files, does all of the file compression formats. Highly recommended. I don't have internet access, so I can't show you.
Well, that's fantastic. That's great.
iZarc.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's basically solved. I've got a long list of other issues here, but
we don't have the time, I'm afraid.
Time to get into that, but hey.
Hey, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. Good luck. This is a tricky one, what you've done, but I think one by one you'll be able to get all that data back.
Right. Okay.
All right, Steve?
I'm on it. Thanks very much.
Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Take care. Folks, you ready to plunge into the world of online shopping? Up next, Amber is going to take you web browsing to buy with safe shopping. A case study. How do you do it? We'll find out. Stay right here. I paid a hot support. Welcome back. Welcome back to Call for Help. I don't know. I feel so sorry for Steve because obviously he had somebody fix his system, and the guy whoever did it was kind of a show off. I'm not going to use zip. I'll use WinRAR, and I'll here it's done. It's done, and then it's very common. And then you get it back, and you go, but where's what? Huh? And everything is there for him, but it's all over the place, and it's hard to find. I wrote an article in my first book called "Beware Geeks Bearing Gifts." They can give you trouble. You get the kid down the street, goes, "Oh yeah, I'll fix that." "Okay, see ya," and then they leave.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that. if you're helping somebody, help them. Get them all the way through so everything's back to the way it was, even if it takes hours. That you owe it to them. We
That's
can't
very
leave them
good
in an
advice.
unknown state.
Both my brothers are big geeks, so they're constantly trying to get me to try new things and switch things around, and they both live on either opposite coasts. So then they just kind of hang up the phone.
Yeah,
and I'm stuck
because
with
they're
a problem.
frustrated. They say, I can't help you now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do that to my mom. I mean, we all do. It's families are worse.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So we're talking safe shopping.
Yep, we're going to talk safe shopping, and I'm going to use Zazzle.com, as I mentioned before.
This is a new thing you discovered?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shopping sites. We're going to use that kind of as a case study, and I'll just show some parts of the sites where you can find out that all of your information that you submit to them is secure, and make sure that their privacy policies are legit, and all of those types of things.
So this is something you would do if you're going to a site you've never used before to make sure.
Exactly, analyze the site and see what's on there. But first we're going to start on this site called safeshopping.org. And just a recommendation that anyone who's about to do online shopping maybe prints off this list. This is their tip list. So it has things that are, obviously, pretty common, like trust your instincts. If you go to a site and it doesn't look legitimate or it looks kind of rough, maybe you don't want to buy from there.
We were talking about that just before the show.
Yeah.
You should always trust your instincts.
Yeah,
if you think something's bad.
You really should. Don't buy from them. There's a few other things like check pricing. If it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't true. So you probably shouldn't buy from them. Read the privacy policies, all the refund and handling policies. Make sure that you use credit cards. Obviously, print the terms off, and when you buy something, actually print that off as well. Yeah. So there's a few other tips here that people should follow just to be safe when they're buying things online. So what I wanted to show was actually the site called Zazzle.com. Actually, we'll go over here.
What do they sell at Zazzle?
Zazzle is a really cool site that I just discovered recently. You're able to turn all of your design ideas into products. So you're going onto the site and you're able to design apparel, t-shirts and posters and cards and those types of things.
But you're going to give them a credit card number to do it.
You are, exactly. So this is a good way to make sure you're safe. So what I did, the first thing I did when I went to Zazzle is I went on and I went down to their safe shopping guarantee. So you should you should probably look for something like this on a website and go in and read it and make sure that it is legitimate and it is safe. And they'll have something like this, the VeriSign Secured logo on the bottom. And also another thing that I discovered they have, which is great, is the Better Business Bureau Online Reliability Program.
Good. Two good.
Yeah.
There's other ones. There's Trustee. There's some other groups that you might see instead of VeriSign, but those are really good.
They're really good. And then when you go through the Better Business Bureau, this is another thing that I haven't seen on a lot of sites, but you can go and you can check out the background information on Zazzle. So this is really cool. So you enter this code. They're located in the Silicon Valley, and then this has all the information, and it has the address, where they're located, when they were incorporated, and just a little bit of information about the company and how long they've been a member of the Better Business Bureau.
I think that's fabulous.
So I thought this was one of the most handy things. So immediately I felt safe buying from them. So I bought some stuff from them. Obviously, it didn't take too much. But and then another thing that they did as well is this is really cool. You're able to, on Zazzle, you're able to track your shipment. So I really enjoyed being able to do this. So it felt legitimate. They kept sending me emails to say, we got your order.
I look for that.
Exactly.
You don't want to suddenly you don't hear from them again.
You don't hear from them again. So this is another really cool thing that Zazzle does, is they actually give you a status update on your shipment, say it's been delivered and shipped out, and it should arrive at your house in a certain number of days. But also people should check out Zazzle anyway, because it's a really cool site.
Are these all things that users have designed that you can then buy?
Exactly. It's a really neat site. So you can buy, and you can go and you can buy something, design it, and then you can make a commission off of it. If
so it's
other
like
people,
Cafe Press kind of?
It's kind of like Cafe Press, but it's more for the individual than a business. So you get all these wacky T-shirts and posters. So you can go in and literally design stuff. This one's a little bit weird. I don't really understand it.
Santa Claus melon.
It says, please place your Santa Claus melon on the belt.
Okay, we don't know what it means. I hope it's not dirty.
I don't know. But you can spend a lot of time going through these.
It's kind of funny.
I know.
It's funny. You know, it's like,
I kind of like it. I don't know why.
It's funny. Okay, we're going to get that T-shirt for you. For more dazzling tips about shopping safely, visit callforhelptv.com. But don't be afraid.
No, don't be afraid.
I think there's lots of great merchants out there.
Definitely.
That have wonderful offerings. Stick around. Lots more to come in just a little bit. But first, let's do our quiz of the day. When was the solid-state transistor invented? It was before you were born. I promise you. Was it 1948, 1971, 1969, or 1066 AD? We'll be right back with the answer. Stay right here. Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you when the solid-state transistor was invented. That was a huge change from tubes to solid state, and it was in 1948. I think William Shockley invented it, won the Nobel Prize for it some years later. Pretty amazing that it was that long ago. Not when the first chip was invented. That was the transistor. And actually, you might have gotten that because remember, transistor radios were big even in the late 50s, early 60s.
That's right.
Well, for those of you out there that don't get out much, I've been working on some tech-related pickup lines to help you navigate the social scene. Now, I know, Andy, you're going to want this.
Yes.
For example, if Andy sees a good-looking lady, he's going to ask her if she needs help to unzip her files. Hey, you want some help unzipping your files?
Hey, baby.
And if that goes well, yeah, go ahead. You might say, hey, baby, your homepage or mine. You like
That's a
that?
good one. Oh, I like that one. That'll work all the time.
Yeah, I haven't been on the dating scene in 25 years, and now you can see why. Let's take our next lucky caller, Amber.
All right, we have Jason on the webcam from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Your homepage of mine. Yeah. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Not too bad yourself. How's it going?
That's going all right.
That's good. That's good.
Would you like to come upstairs and see my motherboards? See, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Times haven't changed that much. So what can I do for you, Jason?
Well, I bought myself actually my girlfriend bought me a DVD player for Christmas.
Oh.
And I've been burning a whole bunch of DVDs, and after the first 30 pack of DVDs I burnt, but I've been going crazy.
Yeah.
I was burning at a regular 6 to 8x burn. Not bad for a DVD burner at 12x, but
Is it 12x burner?
Yeah.
Okay.
And after that, it just dropped. Like, I'm burning at 0.9, 1.3, and so I downloaded the drivers for the flash drive for the DVD burner.
Yeah.
And that fixed the problem for the first DVD, and after that, it went back down to burning at 0.9 of an X.
Are you using the same media that you used on the first 30, or is it a different disc?
No, I've been using the same media.
Huh.
Like, I use Alcohol 120 to burn the ISO files.
Okay.
Onto DVD.
Fine. I mean, you're using, what's the burner? What's it make on the burner?
It is Optimize or something like that.
I don't know that brand name. I don't know.
It's like a London Drugs brand name.
Yeah, I don't know why it would go down. I mean, yeah, it's true that you have to have media that is rated for the same speed as your burner. In fact, you should be getting close to 12x speed if you get 12x media. It's hard to find 12x media, by the way, but you should at least be using 8x media. So I'm wondering, maybe those discs, as you got further down in the deck, the quality was lower or something. You might go out, this is often the case, and try different media. What I usually recommend, some of these online media places, I use Rytech, which is a cheap brand, but actually gives me good results. You can go and get a sampler of 4 different makes and manufacturers of different media and see which one works best for you. You certainly should get media that's rated for the speed of your burner, but I don't know if you were using the same discs, if the quality didn't drop, I don't know why could it be that maybe your computer got busy?
Well, I would think perhaps, especially if it's an off-brand burner, perhaps he went crazy and burned it in,
burned up his burner,
and maybe the head got out of alignment or whatever.
Could be.
It's because what happens is you're going to slow down only when the device is having a hard time basically making those burns, right?
Yeah.
So my theory is that you've got a hardware issue.
He wore it out. Well, it's still under warranty, I'm sure.
Already.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't. Look that's unusual. 30 discs isn't that many.
No.
But maybe it got knocked. I like what you did first, which was upgrade the firmware. That was a smart move.
Yeah.
And you're sure that nothing else is going on. What software do you use to burn?
I use Alcohol 120, and I also use Easy Creator 6.
And in both those cases, it's the full versions. You're not using time-limited versions?
No 15 days all full.
Yeah. Because sometimes that'll happen, too. Like, it'll burn at 8x up to the first 2 weeks, and then it says, now that you pay for it if you want to burn any faster. But that doesn't sound like it either. I don't know why all of a sudden it gets slow. And it's the same kind of stuff you're burning?
Well, yeah, it's all DVDs. I make backup copies of all the DVDs that I have because my friends like to borrow a lot of them. So.
But you're not re-encoding. You're just making ISOs and burning those out.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't take any more time because the computer's not doing any work to process the content. It's just taking an ISO, an image file, and burning it.
Is there a smoker in the house?
Is there a smoker? He wants to know if anybody's smoking.
No.
Because that's true.
I'm
the cigarette smoke will
home
film up.
right now. So.
Yeah, no, but I mean that'll film up the laser on the CD or DVD burner. You kind of stumped us. I can't think of why it would all of a sudden go down. There's a few reasons: media, damaged drive or out of alignment drive. Cigarette smoke actually is very bad for CD burners and DVD burners. It could be that the software or the computer itself is not, one thing you might check, defrag your hard drive. If the ISO image is spread out a lot over the hard drive, it could slow down the burn because it has to do a lot of access.
Yeah, because they're regular about 4.3 gigs.
Yeah, so I don't know. You know, I mean, I think you did all the things I would have done. I'd maybe take it back and see if you can get another one.
Yeah, well, I was probably thinking of that too.
Yeah.
I'm just going to actually buy a better labeled DVD burner instead of some secondary company itself. Because I got an HP regular CD burner, and it's never ever let me down.
Yeah, I don't think you should have this problem.
I don't know. It's
Your
kinda
girlfriend's
curious.
a sweetie, but what does she know
about
DVD burners, right?
But I'm also using a cheaper quality DVD as well, because when I first started off, I used Fuji, and Fuji makes actually great CDs.
Right.
And I went down to Maxwell or whatever.
Maxell, yeah.
Maxell, and Maxell is not that bad, but I just couldn't believe that.
The funny thing about media is you just got to try it, and whichever works well for you should keep working well for you.
Yeah.
It's not just the burner; it's also whether you play it back, and you just got to try different kinds. And frankly, I buy the cheapest kind that works. In my case, Rytech, but that depends on the burner and the player. So you just got to try. That's experimentation. Jason, I wish we had a better answer for you. I do not know, but I think it might be time to try a new one.
Yeah, definitely. And that I'm thinking actually I'm going to buy another one. So
cool,
go
Jason.
from there.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. Nice to see you too.
Not a problem. Nice to see you too, Louie. And say hi, Jennifer and Andy.
All right, Amber is her name, but I'll say hi to her too.
I apologize, Amber.
Hi, Jason.
Jennifer's my wife. I'll say hi to her though. Okay. Hey, thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. Coming up, Andy spent some time taking a closer look at Alpha Shield. A number of people are asking us about this. They advertise it as a super duper firewall. A good hardware firewall? Maybe yes, maybe no. The hard facts about Alpha Shield when we continue in just a few minutes. Stay right here. Well, we've talked many times about how a firewall is important to protect your internet security. I've often said a hardware firewall, aka a router, is probably the best protection. Without it, it's like leaving the front door of your home wide open to strangers. Now, I think a router, just a plain old router, is all anybody needs, but there is one company that has been advertising that they have a special super duper hardware firewall that is not a router. We wanted to see if it was worth the extra money, if it does a very good job. Andy has acquired the Alpha Shield, and we're going to test it out. Now, one thing I'll say for it, it looks cool.
It looks cool, yeah. It's a cute little silver box.
Does it work as a router as well?
And no, it doesn't work as a router at all.
So you would have to have a router in addition to this?
Yeah, oh, no. No, well, the idea is...
You'd want a router.
The way that they market these little guys is they say, you don't need a router, but you've only got one PC and you got your cable modem.
See. If you only have one PC.
Right.
Yeah.
So normally in that environment, what you would do is you would put a software firewall on your computer. Either use the Windows built-in one, or Zone Alarm, or...
I tell people, even then, just buy a router. They're $40, $50.
Right. So I thought, okay, well, is this as good as the $40, $50? Because these things are $100.
$100.
Now, here's what's cool. You plug it in to your computer.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
And you plug it into your cable modem.
There it is, and everything goes through it.
Everything goes through it. So you know your emails coming in here, and it goes through, and then it goes back into your computer. So is it any good? You know what? It does exactly the same job from a protection perspective as your router. Right? And
but wait a minute, it says it blocks all 65,536 ports.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really clever.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't your router do
that? Yes, router does it too. So, no.
It prevents identity theft. Stops Trojans.
If you go, thank you very much, Mr. Marketeer. If they have three key features on their website and in the packaging that says, this is what we do. Right? One is IP stealth.
Stealth IP technology. It conceals your computer's identity from being visible on the internet.
Right. So somebody comes along and goes, knock, knock, knock. Right? And IP stealth does this.
Doesn't say a thing.
No, it just kind of ignores it. Now, you know what?
Same thing.
Same thing.
IP stealth.
Okay.
Okay.
And it does something called
RPA technology.
Real-time packet authorization.
It utilizes an artificial intelligence infrastructure to monitor inbound and outbound data.
Guess what?
What?
This does that as well.
Oh, but does it without any delay? Each packet of information is inspected and allowed access only to authorized addresses?
Yes.
Oh.
So
okay.
So here's the big feature.
Yeah.
The big feature. It's called Alpha Gap.
Alpha Gap technology. Access to your system is managed through a seamless disconnection reconnection process.
Right. So on this little baby, there's a little
button.
button.
You know what that is?
It's
the on-off switch.
On-off switch.
Wait a minute, that's not an on-off switch. No, that's a seamless disconnection reconnection process.
Which is here. You go like this. You push the button, and it disconnects. Actually, it just makes a it disconnects the internet to your computer.
Yeah.
Now on your router.
How would you do that?
Was a WAN port
There's
here,
a little connector,
right? Goes out to your modem. This is
that's
the
the
same
seamless
thing.
disconnection. Watch that. Seamless. Wasn't that seamless? But wait a minute. Alpha Gap technology provides the highest level of network security and privacy by keeping you disconnected when you're not actively surfing.
Yes.
So it turns it off.
Turns it off.
Does it do it automatically?
Yeah, there's 3 settings. So it can either time out after 15 minutes.
So that's cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Although I think many routers you can have a setting that'll do that also.
So here's what this is the AOL of firewalls, right? It's for people that don't want to go near
just plug it in.
The routers. They want to basically plug it in and be safe.
And sometimes with a router, not always, but sometimes you do have to configure it. If you had DSL, you would have to configure it.
Right.
This you wouldn't?
No configuration necessary.
But the disadvantage is the router does the DSL dialing. You'd still need a DSL dialer if you're on DSL with it.
Well, you need a software on your
computer.
PC.
And so the router does more in a sense there.
So it kind of does less and it costs more. But it's easy to use. And so you know what it is? It's grandma friendly.
Yeah.
And that's what they say. It's grandma friendly, hooray. So
because I think grandma needs a seamless disconnection reconnection process, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, so from that perspective, you want a real quick solution for your grandma. You don't have to worry about it, configuration, that sort of thing. It's, okay, so pay $100.
Get a router. $49. If you have a product you'd like Andy to take a closer look at, send him an email, Andy at callforhelptv.com. Pour câble à large bande, DSL, armé et sans fil.
Oui, c'est bon.
Oui, oui.
Okay,
and for some thoughts and tips on how you could be on a future show, stay tuned. We'll tell you right after this break.
Let's rock!
Pourquoi avez-vous besoin de sécurité? Welcome back to Call for Help. A reminder to sign up for our newsletter. You can do that on our website, callforhelptv.com. You'll get every day in your inbox what we talked about on the show today and what we're going to talk about in future shows. You want to do that. Amber, we're taking a look at Zazzle. She designed something for Zazzle. This is a poster?
Yeah, I actually just did this quick poster.
So people could buy this?
Yeah, so it's me and Katya, our producer, and I just put a title on the poster and URL on the poster.
Oh, we got to switch it over so that they can see it.
But if anyone goes and buys it from Zazzle, if you do any products, you get 10%.
See, I think kids are going to do this and not have jobs anymore.
Yeah, no.
They're going to persuade their friends. They're going to make T-shirts and posters. I can see my daughter doing that.
Exactly.
And persuading all her friends to buy them.
Buy it, and no more need for an allowance.
I like it.
I know, it's great.
ZZZLE.com.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The world is so changed for kids today. I mean, they're in a different environment.
It definitely has.
I had to work at McDonald's.
I did too. Deliver flyers.
Did you work? Oh, you delivered flyers.
I still do.
Oh,
the world has not changed for him. If you have a question you'd like to ask the Call for Helpers, you can email us, of course, Leo.
Amber at callforhelptv.com.
And Andy at callforhelptv.com.
Or visit our show notes, our website, callforhelptv.com, and click that link, ask a question. Use that form, because that helps us, gives us information we need, like your phone number. We got to have that, and when you're available, so that we can call you and get you on Call for Help next time. Thanks for joining us. If you've got a problem with your personal confuser, don't whine, don't moan, don't yell. Just call for help.
Good.